guys, Matt here from PlaiOfficial, and I've had so many people asking about how I've skinned my VuhDo to go in with my UI, and in this video I'm finally going to show you. Now when you first get VuhDo, it's going to look something like this. You're going to have your group 1, a main tanks frame, a private tanks frame, and a blank frame. Now obviously that looks absolutely nothing like mine used to look. What you're first going to want to do is open up your VuhDo options by typing /VuhDo opt. Then we're going to want to go to move. Now this looks really complicated, but it's not at all. Now here you can pretty much decide what you want. Now the private tanks, there's really no point in using that at all. I'd just go straight off and remove that by pressing the X and then the yes. Main tanks, I would suggest having that. It comes in really handy in both 5-mans and raiding. It just makes your main tank a little bit bigger than everyone else, especially handy if you're tank healing in a raid, for example. Then we also have the group 1, group 2, etc. frames here. Obviously we're going to want those, because otherwise we won't be able to see the players. And then we have the pets frame. We can keep the pets frame open, but I don't really like healing pets. I don't see the point in it. I honestly think it's a waste of time. So I'm going to remove the pets frame as well, yes. And then we're going to hit OK. So now we're down to 2 panels here. We also, in the top left corner, have our VuhDo buff watch, and that's simply going to be a buff tracker for us. I generally don't use this simply because up in the top right here on my minimap I can see what buffs I have, but it can be helpful if you're not using ElvUI or you're not very good at keeping track of your buffs. So now on to how I skin them. We're going to want to open VuhDo options again, and this time we are going to want to go to panels, and then, well, we're going to start off with, let's say, what should we start off with? Let's start off with the bars. Okay, so we've got the bar texture. Now as you can see, when you select one of the bars it starts flashing. We can customize them individually. So I'm going to start off with the texture. Now as you can see, there's loads of textures, and the little green bar, it will simply change it. So I'm just going to make this a lot bigger for you, just so you can all see this. There we go. I don't have it this big obviously, but this is just for demonstration. But look, as you can see, it simply changes the bar. I think the standard one is gloss, I think, but I always go for minimalist. I think it's, well, when it's not ridiculously big, I think it genuinely looks quite nice, and I think it's not too obstructive or anything, but also the glass and the glossy ones look quite nice. Then I'm going to want to go over to the main tanks, and I'm going to change that to exactly the same. Also the light step ones do look quite nice. As you can see, that shows it on the texture icon there. They look quite nice. But oh look, there's a Tuck UI one there. That one looks quite good as well, doesn't it? But there's absolutely loads. But you can go through all of those. I can't be asked to go through all of these with you. But there we go, you get the idea. So let's pop that back on minimalist, and this one back on minimalist. Now the bar colour, you can change it to class colours, you can change it to solid. I'd suggest having it as gradient, otherwise it's not going to change depending on the health. I'd suggest leaving the damage flash sensitivity on and at 0.75, because, you know, if you turn it up, then your bar's just going to be fucking flashing like mad. Basically what that does, if somebody takes a big hit, the bar will like light up for a fraction of a second. It pretty much just helps draw your attention to that bar. In fact, I will see if I can jump off here. Fingers crossed I won't die. My bar should flash. Fingers crossed I don't die. Here we go. Did my bar flash? I don't know. But theoretically, it's probably because I'm not in combat, but theoretically it should, what's it called, flash. So let's open VuhDo options again. Healing at this level is so OP, I love it. Look, it's like 1/4 of a health from a rejuve crit. Okay, so now we've got the textures we want. We're going to want to sort out the sizing. Now as you can see, I've got my two little bar people here, so I'm pretty much going to want it, well, I think I have it about 120ish, so I'm gonna, because obviously 10-man raiding, I'm going to have one group here and I'm going to have my second group there, so it'll all fit snug in there. Obviously if you're 25-man raiding, you might want to move these bits out of the way, for example, or you could just have this sitting on top and have a cast bar here, but that's all up to you, your positioning. But yeah, the X and the Y gap, that's going to control how far away the other people's bars are, so pretty much how spread out the bars are. Panel scale, obviously that's simply going to make it bigger, like everything bigger, the whole fucking lot of it. Or you can have it really tiny, look at it, there we go, and then I can pop a YouTube on my tiny bar. I doubt you want that though, I just leave it to 1. That's about it really for that, isn't it? Then obviously I've got that at 119 and 32. I'm going to put this at about 150, not that big, 140-ish, and about 42 down. So obviously when I get a main tank, that will expand downwards. Okay, now I've got all the sizing right, we're going to move on to headers. I suggest unticking headers. Yes, I know my fucking main tank's there, you don't need to tell me. It takes up unnecessary space in my opinion. You can have that on if you like, and obviously you can change the texture on that part. I'd probably have it minimalist again. But generally I just totally untick that, you know, you don't need it. You just don't need it. You don't need to know where your main tanks are because you know where you put them. Next up is targets. For the main tanks I generally have the targets showing just so I can see who's tanking what at a glance. If I enable targets on myself, as you can see, shown up with another bar next to me, and as you can see I am targeting myself. So I'll usually leave that unticked for people and ticked for my main tanks. On my arena frames however, I do have that ticked so I can see who's targeting who, etc. Okay, next up is tooltips. I suggest just ticking show and debuffs. This will pretty much, if a tank for example gets say a debuff on them that reduces their armor, it will simply show the icon. It's lovely. It just really helps you out, especially with healing debuffs or raid debuffs that are coming on. Instead of just the colour of the bar changing, you can see that you can actually see the icon of what's on them, so it lets you know quick at a glance what debuff they've actually got on them, so you can really, so you don't have to target them basically to see how much extra damage and that lot they'll be taking. Next up is text. Again, this stuff looks really complicated, but it's not. It's, you know, you got your name size text. If I do that, look, the text is massive. Make it small, it goes smaller. I don't use that, I don't really like it. And obviously here you can change the font and that lot. What font do I think I actually use Emblem. I think I do use Emblem. Oh no, wait, I use Vixar. I think. Vixar. There we go, I use Vixar because it's a really nice and clean font. You might have to download that font, but there we go, I use Vixar. And as you can see, you can simply change the anchor point to where this shows. I like it in the bottom corner, I just think it's really helpful. You can show classes, you can show the pet owners, flags, so if they're flagged for AFK, DC or PvP, or if they're dead, then you know, it shows you. I'd suggest keeping that tick so you can see who's AFK and who's dead, which is great. And names as well, I like to keep that tick so I can not heal the people that are taking the piss. Obviously then we have missing health points, remaining health points. Obviously if you go on missing, it literally shows how much health they've got down. That can be really helpful, you know. If you do it on a tank for example, you might want to do that on your tank's frame maybe. But yeah, you might be able to see, oh, they are minus 95k. I can get off with doing a greater heal on them and it won't overheal. You know, that might be good. I generally just like to leave it on percentage. I've pretty much got a good idea of how much health the people in my raid have and how much healing I'll do to top them off, but there we go, you can do that if you want. Next we're moving on to hot icons. Well, as you can see, you get two layouts as standard, and then you can move these round and scale them and stuff. Generally I like to go for the second option and have slot 7 quite a bit larger. I'd set that on 1.5, I will show you in a moment why. And then simply, you know, I usually put a main hot on 1, main hot on 2, and a main hot on 6 as well. So as you can see here, I've got my life bloom on 6. I am lagging a bit, by the way. I've also got life bloom on another one, it seems. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Change that to Cenarian Ward, but there you go, you can see I've got life bloom showing on there. And then that will be exactly the same for this. That simply copies over to the second frame. These options do here. And then you can see it counting down there. You can have the icon, so you can see the icon behind that. You can have it flat, or you can have it glossy. If I pop a rejuve and I set slot 1 to rejuvenation, as you can see there, it shows the amount of time remaining on my rejuve. You can then change that to the icon, or glossy, or flat. As I said, I prefer glossy, because when you change it to icon, you can't really see the icon very well anyway. It just looks like a purple piece of shit. You can turn stacks off, so you can't see the stacks on your life bloom. I think it's quite helpful to have that on, really on triangles. Not on text, because then obviously you have two pieces of text, and it just gets confusing. I'd suggest just having glossy and triangles. We'll leave it at that. And then change your hots accordingly. Then the hotbars, these are really quite handy. I've got it set up for this first one. As you can see, when I rejuve, it simply shows a slightly transparent bar going across the top there. Helps me know when I need to refresh it. And if I pop Cenarian Ward on myself, yes, don't moan at me, I know Cenarian Ward isn't as good as the other talents, but there we go, I like using it. As you can see, that goes across the middle of the bar. So it's really handy for being able to see when your hots are going to end, kind of thing. Now next, moving on to miscellaneous, the most important thing here is the overheal text. I would really suggest having this turned on and just here pretty much, because as you can see, plus 3k, that's showing me I'm going to overheal myself by roughly 3k, and if we have a look, I overhealed myself by 2.6k, so it's pretty accurate, that is. You know, it is pretty accurate there. That was 2.6 again. So, you know, if you also, VuhDo calculates all incoming heals, so it'll take all hots into account and all other healers' heals. So if I was going to heal someone, for example, but another healer was casting on them as well, it would show that. It would show that the other healer's heal is going to heal them to 90%, for example, and a slightly transparent extra bit to the bar would come across. And then it would tell me that because my heal is going to hit after theirs, mine will, well, you'll see the overheal by 57k, let's say. By that point I would know there's no point me casting that heal on them, I'll just put a little hot on them instead. So that's really helpful, I would suggest keeping that on. So as you can see, we're halfway there, we're getting to look a lot more like my VuhDo. We're now going to go on to colours. Now this is pretty much where we're going to finish up. Now, as you can see, you've got all of the custom colours here, and I like to leave these as they are. I think they're quite handy. You know, poison will show as a horrible colour. Well, it's not, I quite like blue actually, but there you go. You can change all these, so if they've got a disease debuff on them, it will show as this colour. Curse shows purple, magic shows dark blue, poison light blue. And a custom is like a debuff that you've set up yourself. We can also see here if they're offline, this colour, global cooldown, this colour, charmed, this colour, dead, this colour. So there we go. Going down to these, I would suggest just leaving these as they are. These states and the top of this mode, they seem to all be fine. And leave this emergency. bit alone as well. There's no point changing those, but the life colours is what I have changed. I have it set to green still, and then I simply drag this down so it's almost black but not quite, so about there. And then obviously well, that's pretty much my VuhDo setup, isn't it? The reason I have it not completely black is because then it completely blacks out the overhealing. Have it not completely black, you see there's a slightly green tinge to it when there's going to be an overheal. If I do go and cast another, there we go, you can see it really kicks in, like the greenness really comes over a bit, so I suggest not having that totally green. Then obviously I suggest having the fair as a yellowish colour and low as red. Obviously you can change that, you can have it lovely pink or you can have it blue or green, but I'd suggest just having it this colour. I think that's the easiest way to have it, isn't it, really? Then obviously we have powers, you know, if you want you can have a pink mana bar if you're a woman, check this shit out. There we go, but I would suggest just having it blue, isn't it? Then obviously look, you've got your hot icon, so if you go back to panels and hot icons, we can see number 1 is there, that's rejuvenation. If we go back onto colours, hots, you can see rejuvenation's red. You may want rejuvenation more of a pinky purpley colour because that's colour of the icon. As you can see, it's now a pinky purpley colour. I'm really used to having that red though, so I'm going to have that red again. I quite like when it's red, really. So there we go, I'm having that back red. Then hots number 2 this is when we add our bits up. As you can see, third charge, that's 3 stacks of life bloom. There we go, it's green. Obviously you can change that to blue, pink if you're a woman and you want everything fucking pink. But there we go, as you can see, you can have these pretty much any colours you want. You can change colour of the class colours if you've selected for the class colours on the bars. You can change the raid icons. These can be quite helpful. If people are marking people in your raid, you can, you know, you can select these. I would suggest, like, you know, whatever. But I usually untick both of these and just have the icon just there. But that's totally up to you, you know. And then target, as you can also see, this will edit the target bar, and if they're a friend, blah 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 enemy, and if they're tapped by another player, it just be faded out basically. So that's if you do not have a tag on a mob. That is actually about it, guys. That is literally everything I can show you to skin in my VuhDo. As you can see, it's exactly like I have it now. I am lagging, I've got no clue why, but there we go. This is great. Look, my VuhDo is all looking lovely and shiny now, and I can see all my hots on it, etc. And I think it just makes it really easy. Look, I can really easily see just by looking at that what hots I've got left on them, instead of having to target a person and look, oh, refresh my life bloom now. I find it really easy. So, you know, I hope this has helped you out, guys. Oh, not to mention, there's something really important I forgot, and I feel like shit for forgetting it. We're going to go back onto panels, hot icons. Now the reason I told you to set slot 7 as larger, we're going to select that as tank cooldowns extended. And this is the great thing about VuhDo. I can pop Bark Skin and it shows a big fat Bark Skin icon in the middle of it. Oh, isn't that great? Anyway, that pretty much means that whenever your tank pops a cooldown, you can see it. Isn't that great? Or if a priest pops pain suppression or any damage reduction cooldown, it will show it just there, bang in the middle. So you know they will not need as much healing, either that or they're about to get nuked to fuck. So, you know, that really helps out. I personally love that. Anyway, guys, I hope this has helped you out, and I hope you can have a lovely, pretty VuhDo like mine now. It looks lovely and sexy. I do hope this video has helped you out, as I said. If it hasn't, or you shit, or you need something else to know, then post a comment down below. You know, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, please. That does help us out a lot. Subscribe if you aren't already. If you have any other questions about the UI, I have another few videos on it. I'm using ElvUI and SCADA here and here. That's about it. And this is these add-ons here are Carbonite Quest, because people keep asking what my add-ons are. That is about it for my UI. Those are all the UI add-ons I use. Anyway, like the billionth time, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you soon.